You have done the work. You have read the books. You have had the therapy sessions. You have journaled, reflected, and promised yourself that this time things will be different. And for a while, they are. Then slowly, almost without noticing, the same situation begins to take shape again. The same type of person shows up in your life. The same argument starts in a different relationship. The same feeling wraps itself around you like it never left, and you find yourself standing in a moment you have stood in before, thinking the exact same thought you swore you would never think again. How did I end up here? This does not happen to people who are not trying. It happens to the ones who are trying the hardest, the ones who are most aware, the ones who want change more than almost anything else. So if you can see the pattern clearly, if you understand where it comes from, if you genuinely want to break free, why does it keep happening anyway? The answer is not what most people expect. You have been trying to solve a biological problem with a thinking solution. Here is where it starts. When you were young, your brain was building a map of the world, not a map of streets and cities, a map of how life works, how people behave, what love looks like, what danger feels like. Every experience you had, every relationship you witnessed, every moment of comfort or fear, your brain absorbed all of it and turned it into a set of operating instructions. And it happened before you were old enough to question any of it. By the time you were 7 years old, the core architecture of your emotional world was already in place. The patterns were already written. The responses were already wired. But here is the part that changes everything. Your brain did not store these patterns as memories. It stored them as identity, not as things that happened to you, as things that are true about you. This is why knowing about a pattern is not the same as being free from it. You can understand completely where a pattern comes from and still be pulled back into it with overwhelming force. Because you are not fighting a thought. You are fighting a version of yourself that your brain built to keep you alive. Psychologists call this repetition compulsion. The core idea is this: the brain has a powerful drive to recreate familiar emotional environments. Not because it enjoys suffering, but because familiar feels safe, even when familiar is painful, even when you consciously hate everything about it. Familiar is known, and to a brain wired for survival, known is always preferable to unknown. If you grew up where love came with conditions, your brain learned that conditional love is what love feels like. So when unconditional love shows up, your brain does not celebrate. It gets suspicious, it gets uncomfortable, and almost without realizing it, you begin to choose people who confirm the original map. If you grew up in chaos, calm will feel wrong. If you grew up feeling invisible, being truly seen will feel terrifying. The pattern is not random. It is your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do, keeping you inside the world it already knows how to survive. Now, here's where neuroscience makes this even clearer. Emotional memories are stored in the amygdala. The amygdala does not think. It does not reason. It reacts, faster than conscious thought, before your rational mind has even had a chance to weigh in. This is why you can be in a completely new situation, with a completely new person, and suddenly feel emotions that seem wildly out of proportion to what is actually happening. Your body is reacting to a story that started long before this moment. This is also why self-awareness alone is not enough. Insight lives in the prefrontal cortex, but the patterns are running in the amygdala. Understanding a pattern consciously does not automatically update the emotional code running beneath it. That requires something different. So what actually works? Research points to 3 things that genuinely change deeply rooted patterns. The first is corrective emotional experience, a relationship where conflict does not lead to abandonment, a moment where vulnerability does not result in rejection. These experiences, repeated consistently, begin to lay down new neural pathways that compete with the old ones. The old map does not disappear, but a new map begins to exist alongside it. The second is body-based work, because patterns are not only stored in the mind, they are stored in the body. The tension in your shoulders when someone raises their voice, the tightening in your chest when you feel overlooked, Approaches like somatic therapy, EMDR, and breathwork speak directly to the nervous system rather than bypassing it. They speak the language the pattern is actually written in. The third is identity reconstruction. The patterns were stored as identity. So lasting change requires updating the story you carry about yourself at the deepest level. What you believe you deserve. What you believe is possible for someone like you. This is slow work. It happens in small, repeated choices that quietly insist on a different story. Choosing the relationship that feels unfamiliar because it is healthy. Staying in the room when every instinct says to leave. Allowing yourself to be seen when hiding has always felt safer. Each of these moments is a vote for the new map, and votes accumulate. So if you are recognizing a pattern in your own life that you cannot seem to escape, here is what matters most. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not destined to repeat this forever. You are a human being whose brain built a map a long time ago based on the information it had available. And maps can be redrawn. Not instantly, not painlessly, but genuinely and permanently. The pattern repeats because your brain believes it is protecting you. Your job is not to fight your brain. Your job is to show it something new.